1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, hello, internet world. This is the last story in this fucking folder, and it's long. So let's see what the fuck. I don't know if I'm gonna read the whole thing. I might do this in 2 videos, because that fucking, fan fiction, that was like almost an hour. I was like, what the hell? It took forever to upload. I swear to God, it took like almost a whole 24 hours to upload it. Or at least 12 hours, I don't know. Anyway, let's figure this shit out. Superbabies. Look at how fat it is. Open the story on a small 2-bedroom apartment. The front door is connected directly to the living room, which is connected to the kitchen, separated only by a half-height, half-length door. The light is dim. A slow-spinning ceiling fan is the only source of illumination. We see a table on which the lower halves of a wine glass and a bottle of wine can be seen. Oh, so this is more like screenplay too, because it's saying how much you see as an audience member and stuff. An old woman's hand can be seen coming into the side of the frame and dealing out cards for solitaire, arranging them center frame between her hand and the wine. We see a view of the wall, on which 2 photographs of a toddler playing in grass can be seen, and the old woman's shadow silhouette is cast under them. Throughout, a loud ticking, as if from a grandfather clock, is the only dominating sound, although no analog clock can be seen anywhere in the apartment. We see Oh, she's going in the paper bag, okay. Or is going in the paper bag. Which bag are you in? Anyway. We see Jano suddenly. He is kneeling on the floor directly in front of the living room couch. Leaned forwards with his chin on the couch cushion. It's weird. His shoulders are drooped and the backs of his hands rest against the carpet from how lazily his arms are hanging. He glances up at the ceiling a moment, but generally is just staring off into space. Granny, Jano, darling, why don't you turn on a movie, maybe? Cut back to the view of the table. The wine glass rises out of view as it is assumed Granny is taking a sip. Granny, you look so bored. They'll be home when the time is right. You can't rush these things, you know. Cut back to Jano, who looks sideways and cocks an eyebrow. Then cut again to view what he's looking at, a fish tank mounted on a small cabinet. The water is still and uncirculated, and a handful of tropical-looking fish swim around. If the water is uncirculated, they're all gonna be dead soon. Fish tanks are so hard to keep alive. I've tried. They're such a pain in the ass. Cut back to Jano's face. Granny, go ahead, have a little fun. Don't punish yourself. Jano shifts a little bit, but doesn't move. Granny, oh, honey. Cut to a view of the legs of the table. We see Granny's rocking chair and her slippered feet poking out from under a long dress. She holds down the wine glass by her leg as if offering it and tries to tempt Jano by swishing the wine a little. See, I guess he's like a dog or something. Granny, come over, have a little drink. Cut back to Jano, hesitating again, but after a couple seconds, he stands up. The camera angle switches to show his whole body, not just his face, and from behind. He goes over towards the living room where Granny is, but right before we might see her, the angle switches again, back to her legs. Jano gets down on his hands and knees and drinks a little from the wine glass. Damn, that's some kinky shit. Granny's voice, my sweetheart. A hand comes down and pets his hair. Fade out to black. That was some kinky shit. Alright, what is this? Let me see. This is some, Superbabies episodes. Episode 1, The Mystery of the Poison Hand Washing. Episode 2, The Mystery of Linguistics. Episode 3, The Mystery of the Sperm Bank Captives. Episode 4, The Mystery of Cartoon World. Interesting. I don't know. I don't remember what any of those episodes were supposed to be. Except for the fucking sperm bank one, because I'm thinking maybe there is this one, like, story idea I keep having sometimes, where it's just, like, basically a bunch of people. It's one of those stories where there's, like, a group of people and they don't know who they are or what's going on. And then in the end, they all find out that, like, surprise, you're something. So in the end, they basically all find out that, like, they are all, like, basically, the part of somebody's mind where that person, like, remembers or thinks about all the people who they were attracted to, they want to, like, think about when they're, like, jerking off and stuff like that. But, I don't know. It's kind of silly. I've never wrote that story, although the idea was there. Alright, let me see. Now we got all these fucking, we got all these, like, there's, like, what the fuck is this? There's, like, some character profiles, but they start midway, so I don't know where the rest of it went. But this is what it says. Molly, 40 years old, with brown hair and brown eyes. She is sturdy, stocky, and portrayed as always overworked, with messy, frizzy hair down to her shoulders and sweat-stained armpits. She wears plain t-shirts or wife beaters, sweatpants or oil-stained khakis, and often yells at the boys. She is short-tempered as a result of her overloaded workload. But occasionally she still acts loving towards them, especially if she can see that she has scared them. Villains. The Kelopinos brothers. Oh, I used to roleplay as these guys. A quartet of mop-haired, greasy, sleepy-eyed, skinny, lanky men. That's pretty specific. From oldest to youngest, they are Imogen, 31, Parker, 27, Fee, 25. Fee was another story, by the way. And London, 18. I used to roleplay as all of these motherfuckers. Imogen and Parker are constantly inventing new moonshines, which Jano and Sloat interpret as necromancing serums, youth potions and acid baths. Fee plays electric guitar and London is a photographer. Rats caught in traps and strange freak accidents cause Jano and Sloat to think that the brothers are animal mutilators. They live in a brick house with a small yard and a quote-unquote cooking pit, a hole filled with charred bits. In the middle of the yard, the Spur Gang, a group of rodeo riders and gamblers led by Tammy Koyuma, who live in the Mustang Hotel. They generally drink and use heroin all day. Run up the heat in the room, I guess it's cold in there, and argue with the hotel owner about their rent. They dress in quote-unquote Western clothing. They are also heavily involved in S&M and run a bondage club by night. Wow. These are interesting ass characters. One of the bandits, named Cone, what does that say? Has an eerie attraction to Sloat and clicks at him like a horse. Oh shit, here's the other, it was on the other side of the page. Clicks at him like a horse as a form of flirting. The Psychos Gang, made up of 3 characters, Carly Saturn, who also has his own story, Dylan Loma, and Subit, or Subet, I guess, Trovanoi, I don't know, I hope none of these names are actually, like, curses or anything in other languages. I already told you my story, I don't remember what video it was in, but I mentioned the story of that one character whose name I fucked up on and had to change it. But anyways, hopefully all this other shit is just innocent gibberish and isn't anything. Okay, let me see. Carly, Dylan, and Subet. They run amok and take and sell a slew of illegal drugs, all of which are code-named after Australian animals. They go through the city threatening people and beating up people who owe them money. They enjoy it like a sport. This is like fucking Clockwork Orange or something. They try to indict. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly. They tried to indict Sloat due to his sharp temper. I don't know what that means. Am I trying to say like they were trying to get him? Oh my god, did you hear that? That was fucking crazy. Maybe that means that they were trying to get him in the gang, or maybe it means that they were trying to get him in trouble with the law. I don't know which one it is. You know, whatever. Okay. So this side of the page I didn't even see when I said it looked like it was cut off. Okay, let's see. Main characters. Jano. 28 years old. This is like practically like a fucking roleplay, like fucking stat list right here. But hey, blast from the past, baby. 28 years old with black hair and green eyes. He is medium-sized, smooth, grinning, vaguely Latino looking. His hair is straight and heavy and long in the back. Base of his neck, it says in parentheses. More medium length in the front. This is like, I remember this clearly, specific period of role playing. It was like, people were trying to do hella detail, like, explain to you, like, exactly the way something looks. Like, oh yeah, it's like, something like, this is, it look right here, and then it's like, gets a little bit shorter, then it gets a little bit longer, and then it kind of dips right here, and then like, yeah, you got all that, right? It's just like, what the fuck? Like, some things you just can't go in too much detail with writing because, like, just, that's what, one of the things I've learned, man, from the roleplay world is like, sometimes you gotta just say a few major details and let your audience fill in the rest, you know? And with today's society the way it is nowadays, you can't even fucking describe people really unless you're like doing it exactly the way they want it, you know? So it's better to leave details out. But yeah, back here, it's like 2006 or something like that probably. It was like, people like, they would describe like, their characters would have like all these piercings. They would describe every single one. What every single earring looked like, down to the T. What every single piece of clothing looked like. Like, oh, I got a black shirt and the sleeves are like exactly 3 inches down, and then they got like a rim on the sleeves that's like exactly half an inch, and then like there's 1 inch around the collar, and then it's got like this pattern on the front. It's like got like a heart, and then around it, the heart, it says like, I love to be wild on the top, and then live to run free on the bottom. And like, it's just like all these details. The second you go down to the next post, you're not gonna fucking remember any of that shit. You're gonna be like, say I'm the character, right? It's like, Norma Joe had this hair that was like shoulder length, or not shoulder length, it was like shoulder length in the front, and then it had layers, and the next layer went down to the collarbone, then the next layer went down to the chest, like almost to the breast, but not quite, like about like maybe 3 inches above the nipple, and then it was slightly curly on one side, but then not too curled, just like loose curls, and then there was a streak of red in the front. The bang went down about to like the equal length of the fucking right nostril, and then, you know, the red was in the front. Then about like in the midway off the part in the middle of the hair, there was another red streak coming down. Like, are you gonna remember all this? You know? Anyway. I'm almost 14 minutes, so let me stop doing this bullshit, complaining or whatever I'm doing. I'm just making fun of myself, I suppose. Alright, he's light complexion, usually seen wearing a sleeveless t-shirt and straight blue jeans. He is our protagonist and generally keeps a bright, sunny composure. He is outspoken and playful and energetic, but quickly turns cowardly when situations go bad. He is characterized with dramatic, cartoonish body language in these situations, standing pigeon-toed and biting his nails, etc. That's not how I remember Jano being at all, but okay, if I say so. Sloat, 29 years old, with shoulder-length, dirty blonde hair and blue eyes. He is typically the sidekick to Jano and therefore is slightly lesser. Ooh. In most physical details, shorter, more petite, more pale, thinner. That's fucked up. Well, I don't know. It shows you something about culture. How all those things would be considered to be lesser. In addition, He is usually sick looking. That's another quote unquote. With flushed skin around his eyes and nose. He has sparse blonde mustache, sometimes a goatee, which can often go unnoticed. He always looks tired, but has just as much energy as Jano, or more, since he has moments of mania, which startle everyone around him, even Jano. It is assumed that he performed in a circus before, because his catchphrase is, "I left geeking for this," when trouble arises. What the fuck kind of characters are these? Lord have mercy. Granny, unknown age. We never see her whole face or body, but only a hand or slipper, or occasionally the edge of her fluffy short white hair. She is a calm and gentle elderly woman with a slightly shaky voice who provides love and affection for the boys. Aw. When in her presence, they act like small children or dogs, in contrast to their regular behavior, which I guess is what we just saw. So, yes. These are all my extremely problematic characters. Probably do a fucking entire 20-minute video just on that whole thing about the lesser thing. That is kind of interesting. But in the end, it's just bullshit. It's bullshit. It's just like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know. You know, it's just like the stereotype. Like, I mean, I don't have to fucking explain it. You know, it's stereotypes. Like, you know, what robust is supposed to be. Robust is supposed to be like, okay, obviously you're not supposed to be that small or whatever, but then like pale skin is not robust, you know, I guess, because it assumes that you're not going outside or something like that. You're not going out in the hot sun and scratching yourself up and getting all rugged or whatever the fuck. Thinner, I guess that means he's not working out, you know, he's not building up muscle or whatever the fuck. I don't know, man. I got this fucking annoying thing on my screen. Okay, anyways, I'm not gonna jump into it too much. Somebody could probably do a bajillion things on how problematic this is and yada yada yada. This is from like 2000. I actually don't even know what year it's from. It could be 2006, 7, or 10. I don't even know. Any time from that time period. Put it down. Let's move on. Next page says stuff in the future, quote unquote. Alright, the first thing it says, quote unquote, quiet rooms, a business, which, you know, I've had many iterations of this over the years. Like, yeah, things are so loud and overwhelming, like, people just want, like, I guess now you call it a safe space, although safe space I think is more about, like, mental things, like being in some space where nobody's gonna call you an asshole, nobody's gonna make fun of you, nobody's gonna tell you that you should go back to the kitchen or whatever the hell, or that, you know, they hate gays or whatever the fuck it is, you know, like, you know how it goes. Let me see, next thing in the future. Fear ads running 24/7 on home, personal, work, etc. safety channels. I think we actually have that right now. That's very interesting. Quote unquote safety shops selling the items on these channels. I feel like we also have that now, although we don't have shops specifically dedicated to safety, but we could, I don't know, maybe. Interactive floors on shopping centers. Oh, like, I think they literally mean, like, the floor, so, like, I don't know, the whole floor is like a touch screen you use with your walking or something? I don't even know. Shopping centers have everything, even 911. That's funny. That's not true at all. Like, the mall is dead. I mean, literally right now, because of quarantine and all that stuff, all the malls are, like, shut down and stuff like that. At least around here. But even without that, the mall was going down. You know, it's all internet now, so, you know. Big graphic TV ad billboards on the roads, sides of buildings, elevators, everything. I mean, I don't know. Some billboards are kind of like, they move, or they're like TV screens or whatever, but mostly it's more or less just still, you know, standard billboards. But yeah, they are fucking everywhere sometimes, like, I mean, you go and when you're driving into San Francisco or anywhere, you're riding on the highway and stuff, you come to places where, you know, you see the same type of billboards over and over. And when you're coming into San Francisco from the Bay Bridge, there's so many billboards. It is literally like a cartoon. So literally like Blade Runner or something, and it's just like, it's really hard to like keep your eyes on the road, even though obviously you have to, but it's just like, yeah, it's very distracting. Okay, all stores have mobile POS. What is POS again? Point of sale, I guess, or whatever. Piece of shit, basically. Tons of employees and people passing out all the time. That's funny. No, we don't have tons of employees. If anything, places are trying to cut down on employees and shit like that. And we do not have mobile POS everywhere. Maybe in the future, I don't know. That seems like way down the line, though, because it doesn't seem like a big priority right now. People passing out all the time. That's really funny to me. That everyone's just so, like, overwhelmed all the time. But that's not true either. Like, if anything, I think people are more, like, numb now, you know, and stuff. But people do take a lot of prescription drugs, so there's that too. Also, everyone wears earpieces to speak, appearing psychic. That's funny because that's kind of true with AirPods and stuff like that. All the wireless earbuds and shit like that. Like, it's hella funny because, yeah, we used to see people on the street with those little, like, Bluetooth things, sometimes, like, having really loud, like, business conversations or something, just walking down the street, like, yelling. We'd be like, is that person crazy? But then we'd see, like, oh, they have a Bluetooth, like, earpiece. And it's the same thing now. It's like, people come through my line, they're just totally like, yeah, and then da-da-da-da-da-da, and it's just like, what the fuck? Oh, you're talking on your, like, your fucking headset. Kids are made to stay later and later each year after school in grade school. Cat yelling, this is bullshit. I don't know what that is. I think Cat is a character. Cat, remember how I said Fee was in a story and all that? Cat is in the same story as Fee. I want to read that story. That is a weird story that I had big plans for, kinda, and never came out all the way. But still. Celebrities get replaced with themselves. I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean that, is that basically the thing that's going on now with, like, the whole, like, oh, if somebody dies, like a famous person dies, you can just, make them with CGI and put them in the fucking, movie or whatever? Is that what it is? Because that's real. No fresh water, gasoline, or paper, except already printed. What? Army and paramedics are all machines. That's fucking funny. No helmets, no loss prevention. To make people buy to replace, and make more dangerous decisions, but not worry about it. What? I don't understand that. High schools teach increasingly more and more personal how to live. I think that's more like a fucking, well, now we're so fucking polarized. This is an interesting thing. We're so polarized now. I feel like that is the, nightmare of some people, and the dream of others, you know what I mean? That some people would love to have high schools teach you how to live, and teach you your morals, and how you're supposed to be, and all that stuff, how you're supposed to think and feel. Like, some people would fucking love that. And then some people would be like, that is the worst fucking thing ever, you know? Yeah. Most people begin part-time work during middle school. Tiki was late and started at 14. Yes, you gotta work. You gotta work all the time. But that's not true either because, like, we're losing jobs, you know, there's not enough jobs to go around. So if anything, I think teenagers are working less than they did ever before. Because, why are you doing that, Quincy? Stop. Teenagers are working less than ever before, I think, because there's not enough jobs for them. The adults are like, move out of the way, kid. We need fucking jobs. We're taking this, you know, part-time, like, grocery bagging position. We need it, because we need to fucking pay for our kids, you know, and shit like that. Oh my god, if female, your father or master signs you up for female work. So I guess it's a sexist society? That sucks. What a sexist ass society. Is this some, like, whatchamacallit, what is that fucking thing called? The Handmaid's Tale. Is this a Handmaid's Tale type of world? Alright, let me see. That was the end of that. Alright, I'm gonna cut it off here and do a new video. One sec.